That was dramatic. Hello, everyone, and welcome to ATL Falcons UK. Another win, another week. Unfortunately, Cal can't be with us this week, but we've got two regulars, and then James has joined us this week to talk about the win. So we'll get straight into it. Lads, what do you think about the game?
Oh, it was great. It was great. It's nice to have a Sunday which was pretty relaxed. We almost got it again. It's the traditional Falcons experience.
So close.
We're the Falcons. We hate normal, but there were some good things in there. There were some good things in there. Olamide Zacchaeus, he was great.
He was.
Matt showed us why he was a top 10. Is a top 10 quarterback. The defense played reasonably well. They could have played better down the stretch, but for the first half, they were absolutely great.
Yeah.
Just a good Sunday.
I agree with that, and just the bottling at the end, like you said, to be 3 scores ahead and at the end still to have sweaty palms and be shaking in my front room is not ideal, but we grinded it out, which makes a change. So I have seen big improvement.
I still think the losing it close to the end, I think that's still a lack of confidence from what happened earlier on in the season. Yeah. But on the positive side, the pass rush actually looked like they cared instead of sort of mediocre attack.
Yeah.
Well, I've won. I thought we were Cobra Kai. I've gone for the Cobra Kai. I thought we struck first, we struck hard, and we showed no mercy until the fourth quarter, and then we let Drew Lock do what he wanted to do, really.
Yeah, I mean, he had such an on and off game. It was really bizarre to throw an interception or so and then look shaky, but then to run for a touchdown and everything. He's a very bizarre player to watch. I don't think he knows what he is at all. I don't think he can. Yeah. I don't think he knows what his style of play is whatsoever. I think he literally just tries anything he can. Like he's not a running quarterback, and he's not like a Matt Ryan. Really, he's just kind of hope for the best.
He's like a poor man's Deshaun Watson, isn't
he? Yeah. I'll take that. I'll definitely take that.
And that's the weird thing with the Broncos. They always find a way to be awful in the first half offensively, yet Matt will come back in the second half. It's just weird. Drew Lock cannot play in the first half, but he can play in the second half.
Yeah.
I think some people thrive under pressure, though, don't they? So if that to him was a pressure situation and he felt like, oh, God, kind of responsible for going behind because of the interception and losing the plays and stuff. And he did like slowly redeem himself. Unfortunately for them, it just wasn't enough. But he did enough to make me sweat. So that's definitely not quite what I was looking for in the game.
He is really hard to assess, Drew Lock. Because like I said, he is great in the second half, but he's awful in the first. So you can't really assess him. No,
you can't. It's really strange. But to be honest, not that concerned. We played pretty solid. Matt Ryan was Matt Ryan. Bar maybe one ball when he threw for the interception when there was absolutely no need to. I love the guy, but it was really bizarre. He tried to ping.
That was his fault. I mean, Oz sort of took his eye off it, and he let the safety come across him. And I don't really put that on Matt Ryan. I think maybe the throw could have been a little bit better, but I think Oz could have done a little bit more as well. He did seem to take his eye off it a bit.
Yeah, that's probably fair. It's just one of them, like where you think if the ball's not there, because it was a low percentage chance ball anyway, and I know you have to take a gamble, but if the ball's not there, just get rid of it. And to be fair, he had a few opportunities where he could have got rid of it, and he kind of just took a shot. But I was pretty impressed, especially like you said earlier, Christian, with the wide receivers. They were bang on for what you can expect of people that aren't really starters as such, and just getting the first minutes and everything.
Well, Brandon was going to be pleased with himself. I mean, obviously his touchdown and the run and catch, especially with the pass interference at the same time, he still managed to catch it. And I was just really impressed with him yesterday. The way he sort of come of age a little bit. You know, you can see him maybe overtaking Russell Gage a little bit. He seems to have that little bit more pace, and he seems to be slightly stronger hands. So I'm wondering at some point he's going to take over that WR3, you know.
Well, at the start of the season on the depth charts, depending on where you looked, them two were bouncing about between each other anyway. So I was shocked that Gage was the one that ended up starting when I didn't really think that that'd be the case. But like you said, he's been bang on from what you can see of him. And I know it's come at a bad time because obviously you don't want Ridley to be injured, but if other people are stepping up, you can't ask much more. I'd rather have 5 wide receivers that I feel confident in than 2 that I'm really confident in and nothing for the others. So
I think with the wide receivers, it's more horses for courses.
Yeah.
Like for Jones, it's certain things. For Olamide, it's certain things, and sort of you can sort of class Hayden Hurst as sort of tight end / wide receiver if needed. Easily could do. Sorry, we're just going to be joined by Mark at the bottom to jump in, but carry on, James. But yeah, no, I agree. There we go. But no, go on, James. Sorry. I think it's horses for course, and you're also sharing the ball out as well. We're not relying on Julio. We're not relying solely on Ridley week in, week out. We know that if needed, the receivers can make plays where required, even if the Broncos defense was bad from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was the thing with Ridley not being there for so much of the game. They like double and triple covered Julio. I know Julio gets double coverage anyway, but they literally focused on him so much throughout the game that everybody else had the opportunity to shine. Whereas even though I know Ridley doesn't get as much coverage as Julio, he gets more than any of them lot got because how good he is at route running. But it was route running. But I was impressed. I was impressed with them all. Go on, Mark. Just because you've jumped in, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it was. I put it in the group chat. Like, I'm always confident that we can outscore people. And I did think like that. My brain must have been switching on and off because it did feel like in the last quarter it was kind of like Broncos score. Oh well, it's all right. They're out. We're ahead now. That's fine.
Yeah.
Broncos score again, and I was like, okay. Broncos score again. And I was like, oh, leave me alone. So yeah, it was a bit. It was a bit squeaky bum time towards the end, and I think realistically for all of us, for all of our sanities, we just need to get used to it because in the fourth quarter we haven't got the legs to be able to really, I mean, don't get us wrong, the Broncos are the Broncos. Come on, let's face it. There will be harder teams that will come at us hard in the fourth quarter in future, and that's what we really need to work on for me. But no, I was overall I was happy. I had a good feeling that we'd score plenty of points against their defense and going into the Saints and going into the Bucks. I don't understand why we should really be all that worried because both teams have proved that they can ship points on their days as well. So
yeah, well, I would have agreed with you that maybe not be too worried, and then they absolutely ran the Bucks over, forwards, backwards, flipped them upside down.
But they themselves ran the Packers over a couple of games ago. So
very true.
I'm certainly not saying the Saints are looking like a frightening outfit. Like they're not. And I don't think the Bucks are, to be fair. I think what's scarier to me than those two teams is our own defense.
Yeah. Although, do you not though? Does anyone think that for the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks, with the defense obviously improving, I've noticed a marked improvement in Keke, Keanu Neal. He seems to be back to the way he was a couple of years ago, hard hitting, just properly in the zone, and with that, he's sort of giving the whole D a little bit of confidence at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way he nearly knocked the living soul out of Hamler.
Oh, that was hard.
I mean, he just battered the living daylights out of him, and I mean, I loved it. I jumped up. I was excited, and I just think the way he's playing sort of elevates the whole Dion Jones is playing better. Everyone just seems to be just gone up a level.
I think it's like they've had a players-only meeting in the defence room and gone, you need to do this, you're good at this, and just go out and do it. Because I think earlier in the season, especially like when the Dallas game went tits up, I think everyone was overthinking it. And I think Morris has come in and said, I'm going to be here for the rest of the year. Just be yourself.
Yeah. I probably agree with that. I think it's just a bit of a mentality change, if anything. I can't imagine the coaching has changed too heavily. I know they've said that he makes him a bit more uncomfortable and stuff, but there's only so much you can change like on the training field in such a short amount of time. So it's got to be playing for your career sort of mentality and holding yourselves accountable instead of looking at a coach all the time. Because I think even though they played for Dan Quinn, I do think it got to the stage where they were looking at him thinking he can take the blame for it now, even though they know it's themselves.
I think if you and I've been quite staunch on. I still am not convinced Raheem's the guy. Now, yes, he's 3-1.
Yeah,
I'll give him that. But I still don't think that I've seen enough to convince me that we're gonna shape up the same way that we have against a better outfit. Because I really don't think the 3 games we've won have been against very good teams.
I think the next couple of games are going to sort of give us an indication of where we are, definitely.
But although one thing I was going to say was, I stopped watching Dan Quinn's conferences a long time ago. He used to just say the same old shit.
Yeah.
But I did find myself watching Raheem's from this week, and it was the first time that I thought, oh, he's got something about him.
Yeah.
Like he reminded me a little bit, just the way that he talked of Deion Sanders. Just like it wasn't not too not as cocky as Primetime was, but just kind of like he had a bit of swag about him.
Bit
you know, he
confidence
wasn't
about him.
like the daft sort of obvious questions were coming up, and he was just like cool as a cucumber. Like, what you asked me that for? Do you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. And actually, it was quite refreshing. So whereas I've actually been quite staunch up until now of he's not the guy, there is part of me that's going, maybe.
But do we want a defensive coach again? Because looking at the offensive coordinators out there, you got D-Ball at the Bills.
The ball, yeah.
You've got Bieniemy. I think those two are going to be the top 2 choices.
The thing about Morris, though, is that he's obviously worked in the wide receivers room. I've said it before. He's worked with the wide receivers. He's worked on the offensive line. He's been the head coach, so he's worked both sides of it. And when he wasn't working, he was studying. So he's always, from what I can gather, he's always asking questions of offensive coordinators. He's always asking questions defensively. So he's always learning. So I don't think the fact that he's a defensive guy really has much sway on it. I think he's a lot more open-minded than what Dan Quinn was.
Plus, our defense has been better since he hasn't been a defensive coordinator. I hate to be the one that points that out. But
Well, now Jeff Ulbrich running all of it.
So it helps that Keanu, Debo, and Foy have a lot more of a free leash, if you will.
Yeah.
In DQ's defense, they weren't blitzing as much. Now they're told to go after the quarterback. Now they're told to pepper the quarterback. If they get caught out, fine, just go after the quarterback. If you give up a play, okay, get back at it.
I was thinking when Dion came straight through. Sorry, when Dion came straight through on the blitz and just knocked Drew Lock just shitless was brilliant. I was worried at one point it was going to be a rough in the passer, but again, we seem to be hitting harder and we seem to be sort of focused on what they're going to do for some reason, and it's just good. It's really good to see.
It is. It's become much more exciting, and that's the least I can say of us. Like, at least it's enjoyable to watch now, even when it gets squeaky bum time near the end. It's still been more exciting than what it was for the first
100%
games.
Does anyone find it strange that our edge rush was the best when we've not got Dante and we've not got Tack in the lineup?
No, it's the most obvious thing. I think Dante is the worst amount of money free agent wise they've spent in a couple of years. And if you look when he was at Jacksonville and when he was at LA, when he couldn't be asked, he couldn't be asked. And other people had to come up. I think Tack's done. After his tweets went out, it was like, thank you very much, drop the mic out the building.
He won't play again this season. He won't get a snap again this season if Morris has got anything about him.
Has there been an explanation as to why Davison was left out again?
A healthy scratch, apparently, according to.
I know, but essentially, a healthy scratch, to my knowledge, is there's
you're fit, but you're not playing.
Yeah.
I think it could be Morris going, you need to pull your finger out. Because he's a second round pick. He's got something. They saw something in him.
But I think also the fact that he missed a couple of weeks on the COVID list. He missed a couple of weeks at the beginning of the season with his injury. So he's only sort of had 3 or 4 weeks playing time and training and what have you. It may be just a case that they thought that the D was okay for now, just to give him a little bit of time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's had 2 weeks of no training, then he's back for a week. So I think that's probably why.
Yeah,
I still do, but I'm starting to get worried.
Is anyone worried about Kendall Sheffield getting burned a couple of times yesterday? He's not.
I'm always worried about Kendall Sheffield.
I agree. I'm always worried. I've not felt confident once this season, and I'd love him to succeed, but sometimes you just watch someone and think it's not for you, lad. Like, his positioning, he's always like 10 yards off, and the amount of fouls that he gives, it's painful. It's just every time he's near the ball, there's a flag up to point of play.
I would give bloody Ray Wilson a bigger role. I would genuinely, because in limited snaps, he's looked really good.
Yeah. He always sort of has sort of one really good play a game. Mm-hmm. You know, he might play only half a dozen snaps, but he always seems to bring out that one really good play.
Yeah.
So I'll give him, and Mariner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been quietly surprised by him, actually, to be fair, because I wasn't expecting him to get as much of a role as he had, but this season's been backwards as it is. Just jumping back onto Morris for a second, because you said, Mark, that you're a little bit more on the fence about him now. Hypothetically, everyone. Just a little bit. Hypothetically, everyone, and getting new GM in and they're happy with Morris, would you take that? At present time, obviously, there's a long season to go yet. There's another handful of games that could determine it, but
I want to see how he fares after the bye, to be honest with you, because we've got the hardest schedule in the league, apparently, according to ESPN. So I want to see how he fares against good teams in terms of how he prepares as with his offensive mind and his defensive mind. Because the defense played pretty well in the past few weeks. So I
also want to see what he'd be like with his own players. Yeah, because I mean he's just inherited a squad. So what would he be like with his own? You know, there's swings and roundabouts.
It is.
Is it not? Is it not? I don't know. Is it not a massive risk? Because where are we going to be, right? Like, I mean, I know this could be the case with anybody, and I get that. But where are we going to be if we hold on to him in a year? You know, we've still got the weapons and all that sort of stuff. We've still got the gunsling quarterback, and we're 6-10 again. Right? Like, is it? Because that's all I need. And I don't know. There's part of us that just goes, do we not just start with a clean slate and start again with a new structure rather than? Because I don't really feel like this is the time to be giving somebody a shot.
No, I agree. I mean? It's a complete rebuild, isn't it? It's not just an opportunity for someone to walk in and guaranteed to do all right. We need more than all right now.
He can prove that he's more than all right. And I can be turned on this. I can be, but as I'm a a raging optimist, but I don't know. I don't know how you boys feel about it, but there's something about it that says if you give him a shot and it falls on its arse in year one, that's on the new GM.
Yeah.
The fans will turn on straight away.
Yeah.
And then we're back to square one.
Depends who gives him the job. If it's McKay that gives him the job, then I've got no problem with them turning on him. But if they announce him and then a new GM comes in, then I think that I don't know. It's a bit of a strange one.
Does this have a striking resemblance to the Freddie Kitchens situation in Cleveland in 2018?
Yeah,
well down the stretch, the offense. He got the job. They flopped. This has striking resemblance to that scenario, in my opinion.
I think we need to look at it like a complete rebuild and look at it like do what Carolina have done. Matt Rule, you're coming in, you've got a 6-7 year contract. Let's see what you can do. Don't blow it up after one season.
Yeah.
That's where franchises go wrong. They get a new coach in, they get a new GM in one season and it's flopped, or it could turn into Adam Gase with the Jets.
And whether anybody likes to admit it or not, Matt Rule has improved the Panthers year one already.
Without a doubt.
They look a better outfit than they were last year.
Yeah.
End of story. And you seen it against the Chiefs yesterday. You know, like, don't get us wrong, I know it's the Chiefs, but they look a much better, more rounded team. They've put faith in Teddy, and like that. This is my point. Is like, rather than just giving him a go, like, I just really feel like this needs to be a project now, and we need to have a plan, and we need to know what we're going to do. You know, 4, 5, 6 years time when Julio gets older, blah blah blah. Like, we've got to be thinking about that now, and that's what the next HC's got to be thinking about. And I don't know.
I think my biggest concern about if Morris was to stay is that Cotter will end up staying, and that cannot happen. That cannot happen for me. That, even though everybody says, yeah, we're not concerned about scoring points and stuff, that's purely on the weapons that we have and not on him. Every time that man comes on the screen, my skin crawls because of some of the calls that he makes. It's painful. We were on, what was it yesterday? Was it second and 16 or something like that? Yeah. And he called a run play, and Gurley just hit a wall. And I thought, well, that's that drive gone like that, because we're not good enough on third downs. And I just have no, even now, even when we play well defensively, I have no faith in him. So
going back to the Morris question, I'm sitting here thinking that maybe it would be good to keep him for a couple of years. We'll have 2 losing seasons. The big contracts come to an end. Julio, Matt Ryan, let him take the hit for the 2 years. Then the new GM can then bring in a new guy who's got a cap to play with, because a new guy's going to come in. He's got fuck all money to spend.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to be dredging the bottom of the free agency barrel.
Yeah.
Sure, just let Morris run with it for a couple of years. Let the big contracts expire, and then say to the new head coach, there you go. It's got to be your team.
That's not a couple of years. You're talking 4 years down the lane.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's
because Matt Ryan.
I do, but there's also a part of me that goes, well, hang on. Like, any GM and any head coach, for me, their mouth should be watering at the offense we've got. So all you've got to do is all you've got to do then is just bring. It's like any sport, right? If you've got someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, or whatever, you've got someone like that. Well, then that's the hardest part of the sport.
Yeah, but the problem is, how long are we going to have this offense? Because Calvin Ridley's coming up to a big contract. Todd Gurley's on a 1 year. Hayden Hurst is coming up to the end of his rookie contract. So that's 3 of your big guns straight away. Julio's getting older. He's going to be 32, 33 in 2 years. Matt Ryan, he's getting older. So, that offense could be gone in a year.
But deal? He expires as Calvin Ridley's fifth-year option expires, because we all know it's guaranteed that's getting picked up.
Yeah.
Like very, very stupid. That's getting picked up, and we have a potential out of Julio's deal when Ridley's contract comes up. So those two contracts will essentially replace each other. Hurst has got 2 years, to my knowledge, providing his fifth year.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So we've got a bit of time, and Matt's still got 2 or 3 years left on his deal, and he's still playing at a very high level. He leads the NFL in passing yards, so that doesn't look like it's changing, even with Dirk Cutter at the helm.
I think the thing is with like Hurst, I think he might do the 3 years and then maybe take like a shorter prove it deal if he's going well in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Ridley, we're going to get charged an absolute fortune for. That's a given anyway, because he's replacing Julio. And then
rightly so.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think Matt, it's pricey, but that's back end of a contract. When he signed it, he was one of the best in the league.
But we can't be sitting here and saying he's still not, because I'm sorry, and Big Ben's a great example. Everyone's going, oh, well, Matt's getting older. Sorry, right? But look at the Steelers, 8-0, and what have they done? They've just loaded protection around Big Ben.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's the man doing? The man's still throwing bombs. Probably not to the extent that he used to gunsling. I'll grant you. But if Matt's still playing to that sort of level in 3-4 years' time, then okay. Well, what we in a massive hurry for? But that's the thing, is that ultimately, and I think one of the commenters said it earlier on, was like if we're going to rebuild and we're going to have a plan to rebuild, then surely a quarterback's part of that equation. But also, like, you want to build it. Like the Colts are a great example, right? They've built one of the best defensive lines in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
So what have they done? They've got Philip Rivers on a 1-year deal, right? Because they think, well, actually, in a year's time, probably we might end up actually getting a better quarterback.
Yeah.
So they're raising that offensive line, and we need to do the same, but on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Because actually the offensive line are starting to get a little bit better. Because that wasn't that long ago. As soon as the ball was snapped, I was like, Matt's getting hit here, Matt's getting hit, Matt's getting hit, Matt's getting hit.
Didn't I see that Chris Lindstrom, something like 8th amongst his position in the league, and our offensive line, like you say, just seems to be improving week on week on week. And a couple of times they're still getting through, but yeah, they're definitely. Caleb McGarry's just getting better and better as well.
But it's all made up of first round picks who should have the ability to keep Matt upright and get Gurley through the defensive line.
Keyword being should, though, James.
Yeah.
You just need an offensive coordinator to let Todd Gurley run the bloody ball, though.
Draft lottery, right? The draft's always been a lottery. There'll always be players, the old saying of Tom Brady was a 7th round pick. Antonio Brown was an 8th round punt returner. So I know they're kind of minimal examples, but I suppose the theory. I mean, I think Grady was like a 4th, 5th round pick as well.
5th round.
So we've just got to improve the organization, and we've got to have that plan. And it really didn't feel like Dimitrov had a plan.
Yeah,
it just felt like
I don't know. You say that. I mean, all right, he's had a couple of busts, definitely, but he's picked some good players, especially in the later rounds.
Russell Gage, Grady Jarrett, Foy.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
The thing is,
he's been great this year.
Save his life.
Sorry,
Dimitrov. He's good at drafting, but he couldn't pick a free agent to save his life.
Oh no. But again, you say that. I agree, but James Carpenter's actually improved a little bit this year as well.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he couldn't get any bloody worse, but
but again, it's on a prove it deal.
Yeah,
he needs to prove a point. Was he in Seattle? He was a bust up there, so
yeah.
Not many.
just to change, just to throw one out there, we've got a question. I don't know if you can all see it, and you want to dip into that one as well.
I reckon it's possible, but not necessarily likely, because we play the Saints twice. I think it was Mark who said they are beatable. They are beatable, but
Yeah,
likely. We are 3-6, but we usually take a win off them. So
yeah. If we took one from the Bucks and one from the Saints, I'd be content with that. As in, like, split them down the middle, because realistically, we're not expected to do any better against them. I know we have the ability, but we're not expected to go out there and get results. In my opinion,
I don't think I mean, I think to answer the question as best I can, do I think we're on a lucky stretch? No, I think we're better than the teams that we're beating.
Yeah.
Do I think that we are a good enough all-round team to beat, the Bucks twice, the Saints twice, the Chiefs? No, I don't think we are. I think we're kind of playing at round about our level at the moment.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But I also think that I'm more than happy to be proved wrong. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I think we can outscore anyone. So
yeah. We've got the players and we've got the weapons to do it, but you've just got to keep that D secure, and they're still making me nervous. Even though they've improved, they're still making me nervous.
Yeah.
Like we
and you say we're 3-6, we could have quite easily have been 6-3. And I still think we might get a couple of wins out of the Bucks and the Saints, and out of that 5-game stretch, I think we can get a couple of wins out of that. I don't think we'll go 9-7. I don't know. We're not going to get near the playoffs, but we can definitely still get another couple of wins out of those 3 big games.
Right. So Cal couldn't join us tonight, but he's very aggressively spamming messages about Cotter in the comments. So, I kind of agree that maybe not if you're just relying on his calls all the time, because you're going to come stuck against teams that are better defensively than what we've played so far. There's no way some of those calls you'll get away with against. I know the Saints defense isn't perfect and the Bucks isn't perfect, but they're solid compared to where we are at the minute.
Yeah, but the Chiefs are even beatable, because they lost to the Raiders. They shipped 30 to the Panthers. Their defense isn't great. We can score on their defense. It's just a question of whether we can contain their offense.
Yeah. Problem with this.
But just one thing to Cal's repeated point.
I'll go back to it.
You can keep shouting, we can't do it with Carter in charge of the offense, right? But I guarantee you that, well, I mean, I don't have to guarantee you, because you guys know it wasn't the offense that lost those marginal games.
Yeah.
So even with a pish offensive coordinator, it wasn't our point scoring that was the issue. It was the defense.
Even with the pish coordinator, we could still be 6-3.
So like with the best word, I take the point about quite. I don't like him either, but you can sit there with your caps lock on, Cal, and keep saying it's quite a fault. But the best word in the world, mate. We can outscore people, and we have been outscoring people, but the defense has been letting too much through, and it's a two-sided game. So yeah.
I don't disagree that the offensive play's been vanilla at times, and it's easy to read. But by the same token, the post route that he called with Julio Jones for the touchdown, and the way he's just left the cornerback in stitches. He can play. He can call the right calls. He can call the right plays. So he just needs to get out of his comfort zone a little bit, take a chance a little bit, and not stupid 4th and 5s. I think that's what he needs to do. He just needs to stop being so conservative all the bloody time.
I think he's improved from last year, to be honest with you, because if you look at rushing stats from last year, we were among the worst in rushing touchdowns. Now we're in the top 10, I believe. Gurley's in the top 5.
We also had the worst running back.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, is this linked to Gurley being there now, or is it? I know we've got a decent rotation and everyone's performing pretty well, but is that purely down to Gurley that you had to change his style of play?
I think Gurley's better because he's got someone who can take over from time to time. When he was with the Rams, he was getting run into the ground, and I think Hill's been a nice change of pace. Granted, he's had a few fumble issues, but it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
But also, I think that our run game players have evolved because we've got Gurley. Because ultimately you would play Gurley differently to the way that you'd play Freeman. I mean, how bad he's done with the Giants is kind of proved my point about him. But I am at the point now where I go, we are running the ball better. We're still not great at it, But I do think that having a running back like Gurley has improved things. And to answer Carl's question, do I think he'll stay? Not, because we probably won't be able to afford him, which is the brass stuff.
Yeah, I'd love him to stay. I'd do anything we can to maneuver him to stay, but I don't think it's physically possible, especially with the cap being cut. I just don't.
I think it depends. I think it depends on whether another team are willing to take a chance on him with his knee.
And he's getting older.
And he's getting older. He's obviously got stresses on his body. There might be someone out there who's going to take a chance on it, but I don't know. If we can come up with a team-friendly deal for him, I'd be quite happy. And I think he'd be quite happy because he loves Georgia. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I think it's that thing we play on his. You played your college ball at Georgia. You were decent down here. You've had a decent season. You like it here. Why not stay? Look what we've got. Who else can offer a 1-2 punch of at wide receiver of Ridley and Jones?
Callum, will Hill, Ollison and Smith be okay, or do we draft another later round?
Hill and Gurley are free agents next year, I believe. So Smith has been a healthy scratch, so we could be looking at a new running back room next year.
I'd rather cut Smith and keep Hill personally. Out of the three of them.
But I think with running backs, they're like a sort of a dime a dozen. You can get decent ones in second, third, fourth round. So I think if there's a high enough rated player available, you take him, like the Colts with Taylor from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think Brian Hill doesn't do enough for me. He'll have a couple of good runs, gain some good yardage, and then he'll get stuffed. I don't know. It's just for me, he just doesn't quite do enough. I'd actually prefer Kadri Ollison over Brian Hill personally.
I'd like to see Ollison get a few more snaps personally.
Yeah, I think it's style of play preference as well, because I think we initially started off using Gurley entirely wrong, and as the season's gone on, how we've actually used him has improved, which means everybody else has had the opportunity to take the plays that he was playing deeper up the field, and it's benefited everyone. But looking at just dipping into the draft a little bit, obviously, at one point it was looking like we were going to get a really high pick, and I think we're going to go stand with Falcons and end up with something just there and thereabouts. Is there anywhere that you'd be looking at drafting immediately? Obviously, it's dependent on GM and new head coach, but personally,
that's a D-line. I think that Gregory Rousseau fella, he looks like a decent player. He's not played this year, I believe, due to opting out of the season. I'm not sure how true that is, but I think it is the case, or I might be thinking of someone else. But he had about
I think you're right.
I think that's why this year, I think Christian's just got it bang on, because I think it's going to be really hard to draft this year, because there's going to be people that go into the draft who've opted out a year out of the game. It's it's I said earlier on.
They might not only that. They might even try and get. Yeah, they might even try and take a senior year in college as well, take that extra year in college and opt out the draft as well. So everything's all up in the air.
Micah Parsons is one of those who's opted out as well, and he was deemed to be a top 5 pick prior to the season starting. Whether that's the case now, who knows?
Yeah.
And who knows
Depends
if
where
Trevor Lawrence will go back into college.
But this is what I'm thinking. I mean, some of them might try and do that extra year in college to try and improve their draft stock because it's obviously going to have an effect without taking a year out.
Who the hell wants to go to the Jets anyway?
Pay enough money, I will.
What position you go?
I have to say though, I still think that if the Jets go quarterback, we should be straight in there to get Darnold as our backup.
Oh, you love Darnold. If you love him so much, why don't you marry him?
I'm telling you. I think he's one of the most underrated QBs in the NFL.
I agree. I think Gase has broken him, and I think sit behind Matt for a year or two, and have a nice change, sort of Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre changing of the guard.
It's not just Adam Gase. He's had no luck whatsoever. Look at his weapons. Look at his whole line. He had mono in year 2. He's had no luck. Sam Darnold deserves a fair chance.
He's not going to come and sit behind a quarterback for a year. In his eyes, he's a number one. He's been playing number one for 2 years, 3 years.
In his eyes, he's New York seeing ghosts.
But if you want to continue his career, he might have to get a backup gig because nobody's going to offer him a starting gig at this point.
What would you offer New York for him? A third? Maybe a second? If they really want
to be a good option. If they take Trevor Lawrence, he's redundant.
Pick for tack, I'd offer the comp pick in a third.
I'd say fourth round's probably a good compensation because if
all the Jets are going to be interested in is racking up picks.
Yeah, that's true.
I just think we should offer Mitchell another 5-year contract.
Just bouncing off the back of that, then no faith in Benkert, nothing. Just off everyone. No chance of him ever. Are we not having it?
I like the lad, but if in training, if you aren't doing better than Matt Schaub, then we've got a problem, bro.
Yeah, valid point. I mean, he spends a lot of time on Madden, and that's clearly not improving him. So I don't know. Don't know what that's going like. I've got another question. What players are we letting walk?
Tyler Davison.
Yeah.
Alan Bailey. Tack.
Yeah.
Tack, definitely.
Brian Hill. Most of the free agents, to be fair, most of the unrestricted free agents, I'd let go. I'll try and tie Keanu Neal up to a deal, to a team-friendly deal.
Yeah.
There's not many out the unrestricted free agents I'd keep, to be fair.
That's fair enough.
I'll change it to who we keep. I'd like to see Bliddy come back because he's been great in limited snaps. I'd like to see Gurley come back, but whether he accepts a below market deal remains to be seen. I think Kazee will come back because he got injured this year. He'll take a prove it deal, in my opinion. I think Keanu will come back because he's played great and we'll try and keep him no matter the cost.
Yeah.
And I think Brian Hill, if he takes a below average deal, because he's not going to get starting value money. But
not yet.
Minimum. So
Keanu Neal's the one I really want to keep because he's a bastard, and every team needs a bastard.
Yeah, I agree with that. You need someone with a bit of fire in the belly and a bit of attitude, don't you? Because I think that's been our problem for the last couple of years, that there's nobody with that bit of grit where it's like, I'm better than you.
There's no aggression. There's been no aggression out of there, is there? It's a free safety and a safety.
No.
Well, I agree with whoever's commented as well.
Yeah.
Alan. I'd let him go.
Alan. Casey, apparently. That one.
Casey, like Christian said, he's had an injury. He'll want to try and prove that he's fit, and he's a ball hawk.
Yeah. Just jumping back to the mentality thing, that was why I was so excited about signing Marlon Davidson, because I saw him as that sort of figure. Obviously, it's not quite panned out for him yet, and he's a young lad. He's got years ahead of him, but that's what excited me, even though it was only in like college and press conference and stuff like that, he seemed like,
I mean,
I'm going to kill you all, which is what you want.
If we hark back a year, you know, McGarry and Lindstrom, you know, a year ago we were all like, no, they're awful, they were busts, they're going to be absolutely awful.
Yeah,
it's the kid's first year. Look, you know, I completely agree, Danny. You know, he was, you know, I seen the interviews and that, and I was like, this is my guy. I really, you know, I'm absolutely, I can't wait to see him, you know, get hungry. But you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood. It's just a case of, you know, they're protecting him maybe from himself a little bit. We don't know. But I'd like to think that, you know, you'd rather have him have a poor season in this season when we can kind of, when we're like, well, meh, then, you know, when he's supposed to be growing or when he's in his fourth year. Exactly. And he's all over the shop. So, yeah, I think I'm not too worried, but, you know,
especially with the fact
I just want to see him ball.
Yeah,
especially with the fact that we had no pre-season, we had no pre-season matches. Everything was just cut. Rookies all across the board. Every team had the same issues. I think he'll come good next year.
Just on what you said then about the no pre-season, obviously our first 4 games were absolutely fucking abysmal. I know pre-season's not the same contact and it's not the same physicality, but it's still game time. Do you think that because we had missed them first 4 games, that's another reason why we're improving now? Because obviously we would have been like we would have been 4 games further on, or is that just, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is, and you know, pre-season's a great tune-up. It's the whole point of it, but you know. What has been the case over the past few years is we play preseason games and we end up getting ridiculous injuries. So there is part of me that goes, well, maybe we just don't really do them anymore. But obviously that's me kind of living in a world where injuries don't happen if you don't play. So. I think you've got a point.
See, I don't think the pre-season's had anything to do with it. At the end of the day, we've got a rota full of players who have played for years. They know how to play the game, know how to play the playbook. Got a couple of rookies in there, but I don't really think that makes much of a difference. Every team has been in the same boat. Pittsburgh in the same boat, and they're 8-0. So I don't really think pre-season really makes has made much of a difference. To be fair,
that's fair enough. That's fair enough, really. Like the fellow that's just commented says, it is more about your fringe players, isn't it? I suppose in one way, is in getting them snaps and seeing if they're ready. For example, I think Benker would have had much more of a chance of getting in the roster if he had a pre-season to prove himself, whereas he's clearly not quite done enough in training. And I know you should do it in both scenarios, but it's not always the case, is it? Whereas
this is the thing. Every pre-season game is just full of undrafted free agents and you know, 6th and 7th round picks. Your first team players might get 1 or 2 snaps, and that's your lot. So I don't really think it makes a blind bit of difference.
I still think a pre-season is important because, like what Adam Thielen said, if it wasn't for a pre-season, he would not be on the Vikings roster right now. So they are important, but I don't think you should have 4 games for it. I think it should be a reduced pre-season in normal circumstances. Like
that's what they've been trying to do anyway, haven't they?
Yeah.
What was the plan to drop it to 2? And obviously they scrapped it entirely, but the plan was to drop it to 2, which I mean that seems fair enough. If you've got 3 quarterbacks, they all can have a third of the snaps each, sort of thing, and everyone else gets a bit of game time. But for me, I know it's only pre-season friendly, but football is football. I want to watch the sport regardless of how it is. So I don't know. I kind of like it, but of course I'm newer to the sport than most people, so I'm just getting for the hype of the game in general.
I think pre-season is more like, as I said, getting the people on the fringes. But I think it's also getting the depth people into shape. because if you look like the defense in the fourth quarter, everyone looks gassed and running on fumes. So if you're able to switch someone out who's sort of marginally fitter and in a bit better shape, it works.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's probably one of the things, whether the fourth quarter is down to just mentality or complete fitness and training and everything. You've got to rely on your whole roster, and that's what it's there for. And to be honest, most of our roster's not performed to a high enough standard throughout the season until recently. We've just got a nice little one at the bottom. I know it's going back a little bit to kind of what we touched on, but anyone?
Not a chance.
There we go.
The Falcons' job attractive. Without Matt and Julio, you've got Ridley at wide receiver, yes. But at quarterback, who have you got? Because we've got no cap. We're probably going to be drafting in the 14 to 16 range. So that probably has like Trey Lance. Trey Lance doesn't look like he's going to come in, start from year one. So at the moment, we are much better with Matt Ryan. At least we've got a fighting chance with Matt Ryan.
I'd take that. To be fair, I don't see many coaches having the bottle to move on a franchise's greatest player because
think about the dead cap as well.
Well, you get nothing. Yeah, what's the point at the moment? It makes sense if you could get something in return and everything, but at the moment, I think it'd be a suicide mission really, because the chances of you walking in, removing your two best players, and still succeeding are so slim. And there'd be no one else to point the finger at. You can't point the finger at the players that are left over because every single fan would just be going, well, you got rid of our two of our best ever players. So I don't see it, to be honest with you.
It's like what people are saying about Julio this year. Trade Julio. Oh, sure, trade Julio on his $75 million dead cap hit. My sister doesn't watch football, but when I said that, she said, there's no chance of that fucking happening.
Common sense prevails. But no, I don't think there'd be very many coaches out there that would have the balls or the lack of common sense to do it, to be honest with you.
So if a head coach comes in or a GM comes in and gets rid of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, they don't deserve to be a head coach or a GM.
Yeah.
I work in PR, and if they did that to Julio and Matt, I think riot and crisis communications comes in massively.
I seen it
happen anyway.
I seen a picture earlier on, and it was a quote from somebody this weekend, and I can't remember who it was. But it just said the sentence ... Matt Ryan to Julio Jones is the thing that all of that NFL franchises are jealous of.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
You know, I understand that there are factions of fans that, you know, want to move on and want to rebuild, and you know you can rebuild without selling your two best and most loyal guy.
Yeah,
you can't rebuild when you've got no bloody money anyway.
No.
What annoys me is when people go on about Matt Ryan. The perception of it is that he needs Julio Jones. He does.
Not true.
Does Peyton Manning's legacy get diminished because he had Marvin Harrison in Indianapolis?
Nothing.
Or Joe Montana's because he had Jerry Rice? No, it doesn't, because Matt Ryan has made stars out of receivers like Harry Douglas. Luke in 2013, Harry Douglas had a great year. Luke now with Zacchaeus, Russell Gage, 2016 with Taylor Gabriel, Mohamed Sanu to a lesser extent.
Well, I was literally just about to say that, Christian. So, like everyone, we all loved Sanu, right? We did, right?
Yeah.
But the guy's gone to the Patriots and done
nothing.
Fuck all, right?
0.
And then couldn't even get on the 49ers practice team. Now,
and now he's in the Detroit Lions practice team.
I'm not saying that Sanu was bad. But what I'm saying is that if you've got a quarterback that can throw the ball like Matt, and you've got someone taking the coverage off you like Julio did, then I'm sorry, right? But it's going to accentuate you as a player. Ridley's proved this year that he's a stud, probably equal to Julio, because he's WR2 now, and he's got more touchdowns than Sanu ever had at this point in the season, I would wager. I don't know that for a fact. I'm sorry, some Jobsworth will go in and prove me wrong. But you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, come on, let's be honest here. Let's be honest about what we've got.
That's a good one on the screen.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
100%. Kid looks like a ferret in the headlights.
Could it be argued with Hooper that
Watching Baker Mayfield passes fly over his head?
it's more of a run offense in Cleveland? Because we know Kevin Stefanski from Minnesota last year. He loves to run the ball, and it's kind of been the same now. But I do agree that Matt did help Hooper get paid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He's done that for his tight ends and receivers. He deserves his agent's fee for doing that. I'd love to know what the total contracts are for the wide receivers we've let go, have had good seasons in their free agency year. It's got to be at least like 100 million plus.
Oh, he's helped a lot of people get paid.
I would not be shocked. One that I was just going to raise now, and Tyler's just said it in the comments. Hurst has gone from not a nothing tight end, but so out of favour. Never really got snaps, never got the opportunity, and look at him now.
Yeah, that's not to do with his play, though. That's not to do with his play. He was unfortunate. He got picked and then got injured. Then they had Andrews come in, take his place.
The Ravens don't use tight ends like that. The Ravens use tight ends for predominantly blocking.
Yeah.
So, and ultimately, we picked one of the tight ends who's got the biggest engine. The geezer's got legs. He can run. You know what I mean? He might as well be essentially a WR4. So, I think that was, and again, I'll hold my hands up and say when I'm wrong, or correct myself before somebody else does. But that was a good move by Dimitrov. So,
being able to technically swap Sanu for Hurst. I think it was
robbery.
Excellent move.
I think with Hurst as well, he wasn't utilised in Baltimore properly because he's more from a baseball background. And at the point when him and Andrews were drafted, because Andrews was taken in the 3rd round of 2018, I believe. Hurst was taken 23rd overall. Andrews' development was a bit ahead of Hurst because Hurst was coming from that baseball background. So they never really had any faith in him because Andrews came along. He did a good job. So Hurst was redundant, and we came in, and we've got a good tight end.
I think that was more because Hurst was injured, though, wasn't it? And Andrews just stepped up to the plate. It just proved himself immovable, really. It's a bit like Jaden Graham now. I think Jaden Graham has got the qualities, but he's never got. He couldn't obviously move Hooper last year. Couldn't move Hurst this year. But if Hurst gets injured and he steps up, he can certainly solidify himself placing on the roster.
He's exciting to watch. I'll say that for a 6'4", 260-pound man, I've never seen many people move like that before.
He's like a fucking swan.
I love him. I love Hayden Hurst. I think not only the way he plays, but the way he's managed to get through his mental problems as well. I just think he's a shining light for anyone out there, and I will defend him with my life.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you like to put
on the screen about his bond with Matt Ryan. Sorry, Mark, but there was a point about his bond with Matt Ryan. That is developing, and I think it is a great question, even though it's not really a question as such.
Yeah,
it's definitely
this is a great place for him to be because with Julio and Ridley commanding most of the attention, he's getting easier matchups, and with his size, with his speed, he is going to get a hell of a lot better.
Yeah,
I think also you're seeing him get more touches. I'll be honest, I picked Hurst in my fantasy team.
Nice.
And I think he's becoming more of a safety valve, but he's also making the plays when he needs to. And I think the more he does that, the more Matt will go, well, that receiver's not open, that receiver's not open. Here you go, Hayden. Here's 10 yards down the field.
And he's making the difficult catches as well. I mean, some of the pickups he's made. I mean, that rebound last week and a couple of his stretch catches. He shows he can get the ball. And like Mr. Full Start Falcon said, he's only going to get better. And in 2 years, 3 years, when his contract expires, he's going to get paid as well.
Yeah,
and I mean, you put 2 and 2 together. Ravens don't look like the same team this year.
Yeah. I think the only thing that might hold Hurst slightly is his age.
But it's a nice story.
No, I think the only thing that will hold Hayden Hurst back slightly is his age, as he's getting older. I mean, he's obviously one of the older picks in that year's draft. I think, what was he, 26 now? I mean, he'll be 28, 29 when his contract expires. And it's whether his body can obviously physically handle the next 3 years. Obviously, most tight ends can. Gronkowski's obviously still doing it.
Yeah.
I've not got a problem with age. Look at Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah. I think there's a slight difference.
Tony Gonzalez was playing
into his fourth.
Top, like he was one of the ones who defined that position, and he played until sort of like mid-30s, I think. So I see where you're coming from, because I'm not saying he's the same kind of player as Tony G, but I suppose at that point it kind of gives us more potential leverage on the deal. But again, if we're still building, then again we're just in a bit of a better position, because it's kind of like, well, stay because we've got something here. Do you know what I mean?
And also because he feels the love.
I think that definitely makes a difference, because obviously barely appreciated at Ravens, not appreciated, but just he's one of them where you just think, he's in the roster, nothing of him, and he's come to here and we're all treating him like a god, even though he's not performed at an unbelievable level. He's just performing well and being consistent, and that's all we want at the moment. Wow.
I think one of the things I was slightly worried about last year was obviously Hooper was always going to be moving on. We weren't going to be able to keep him. And I was always worried, who are we going to have in? Who's going to come in as TE1? And I was looking at our roster at Jaden Graham, thinking, and just looking out there. And I think the fact they managed to pick up Hurst, I just think we absolutely stole him.
Yeah.
And Thomas Dimitrov must have run away from Baltimore with a mask over his eyes and a bag with swag over his shoulders, laughing his ass off.
And I think what a good thing is to consider is, if we would have kept that pick and looked for the tight end in the draft, there is no one in that draft who was.
This is exactly it. Exactly it. We've got a tight end one who was a first round pick for fuck all.
Yeah.
Who was the best tight end in this draft? Was it Cole Kmet? And he's hardly seen the field with the Bears.
Yeah. I think with the tight ends from the last draft, I think everyone was just sort of bumped up as soon as Cole Kmet went. It was like, oh shit, we need here's an athletic tight end. But I think that's where the systems are going now. I think it's your tight end is your wide receiver 4. You need him to be that athletic mismatch on the linebackers.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Right, lads, we're going to look.
Tight ends are pretty much wide receivers who block.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
We're going to line up in an illegal formation.
Yeah. Second was too expensive. I don't know who that's referring to.
I like
second round pick for giving up a second, giving up a free pick that we were given for Mohamed Sanu and swapping it for Hayden Hurst is too expensive. I'm sorry, Mr. Turtle, but you need to wind your in a little bit, because I think we stole Hayden Hurst for a second.
Oh, I love it. Right, lads, we're going to look at wrapping it up, but I'm going to do a quick under and over for the rest of the season. So, 4 wins under our over, Christian.
I would say over 4 wins, definitely.
James?
I'd say under, just because of the defense.
Mark?
Over 6.
Fuck off.
I'm genuinely going
You're talking to a man who has Yorkshire pudding with beef, with chicken. You can't trust a man like that. So just disregard him.
That's great.
Listen, I'm going to come back this video when I'm proved right, by the way, and I'm going to post it in the chat with a picture of some Yorkshire puddings next to it.
Right, lads, it's been a pleasure. We will be looking at doing a show in the bye week just to get something out there. Probably have some other fans from other teams on, so it'd be good to get into some arguments and some scraps. Might try and get some Saints just so we can go at them a little bit and make sure we're outnumbering them like 5.
Don't invite me on then.
No. It'll just be a Michael Thomas slant fest.
Right, thank you all for coming on, and thank you everyone for watching. It's actually been a pretty fun show.
Cheers.
Been great, lads. Nice one, lads. See you later.
Easy.